Hello, my fellow investors, my dear viewers and listeners. Welcome back. With me again, Joseph Areu, your investment advisor. I'm hoping, I am praying, I always hope and pray that you get some value from what I talk about, value in terms of getting your money to work for you and to do so passively. That means you don't need to leave your employment, you don't need to leave your day job, but as you do that, you can invest in such a way that your money keeps making more money for you and therefore ensuring long-term financial independence. This is the essence of these talks. This is the objective of these talks in the final analysis. So, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last video, in the last talk, I began addressing a question from Asha, Kijana. So Asha, once again, thank you very much for your question. This video is still continuing to answer your question, which was where do we get, where I suppose, and you can say, how do we get long-term investments, long-term, low-risk investments? Asha, that was your question, a very important one for which I thank you. So we last, I gave you a series or a set of examples of sources for long-term investments. So in this video, I want to start talking in a little more detail about unit trusts or mutual funds. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the first time you're hearing me talking about unit trusts. I've talked about this before. But I want to just talk again about it in the context of Asha's question, trying to help you understand a bit better how you can use unit trusts as an investment vehicle for long-term growth. Okay? So a unit trust, if you may recall, or a mutual fund for that matter, is basically an investment vehicle through which thousands, several investors pool resources, pool money under the management of an asset manager, okay, a regulated asset manager, very well-regulated asset manager, licensed for that matter, and working under an investment framework which is approved by the regulators, what we call a trust deed, okay? And the money is then segregated. Your investments are always segregated and placed under the custody of usually a bank. So your money is not going to be mixed up with the monies or assets of the asset manager, but it will be deposited securely in a custody bank. We call it a custodian, all right? So that essentially is a framework or an investment vehicle that we call a unit trust. And there are several examples in our region. When I say our region, I mean the East African region, but it's basically a similar structure even in other parts of the world, whether it is in South Africa or other parts of the world, you will find very, very similar structures. So what are the main advantages? What are the main benefits of investing through a unit trust? By the way, you could also hear some unit trusts, or some people referring to these as a collective investment scheme. In many cases, or in many times, they are referring to the same thing. So what are some of the key benefits of investing in a unit trust in order to get long-term growth. The first one, probably the most important one, is that through this vehicle you are able to compound. I've always emphasized the importance of compounding, and I will not get tired of doing that. You are able to compound your returns. Compounding, once again, meaning simply your returns get reinvested. And that way, you are able to generate a faster rate of growth. In fact, in mathematical terms, you are able to generate, instead of a straight line growth, you are able to generate a much faster. If you look at the growth curve, it becomes, it's a curve instead of a straight line, exponential, as the mathematicians would call it. Okay? So that's the first advantage, compounding. Second advantage is what I would basically call flexibility. So this is an investment vehicle which gives you a lot of flexibility in investing. What do I mean by flexibility? So you can top up, for example, anytime. So if today you open the account with a certain amount of money and tomorrow or next week you find some more money from some source, all you need to do is just go and deposit that money into the unit trust account. There isn't too much hassle about it. So you can top up very easily. You can start with very not onerous sums of money. In Uganda, for instance, you could start with something as low as 500,000. In Kenya, you could start with a couple of thousands of Kenya shillings in order to start this unit trust account. So very, very flexible, very easy, very not so demanding in terms of how much money you start with. And like I said, you can also top up anytime that you wish to. There are other investment vehicles where you can only invest within a certain schedule, not for unit trusts. Okay? So very, very convenient. Thirdly, this fund or this investment vehicle gives you liquidity, meaning that anytime you need your money, you can basically access it. All right? So that becomes a potential plus for a unit trust fund or a mutual fund as an investor. Right? The other benefit or advantage of investing through a unit trust for the long term is professional management. So you realize that your money will be managed professionally by an asset manager. Not only a professional manager, but also a regulated and licensed manager. That is very, very important. If I may repeat that, in a broader context, always, if you're looking for unit trusts, you're looking for mutual funds, please, please, always seek a licensed or regulated unit trust. All you need to do is to check with the regulatory authority. In many countries, it's what we call the CMA, the Capital Markets Authority, or as such similar authority. Just check with them, find out whether whoever is offering you unit trust management services is actually licensed. So a big advantage here is that you have professional management being given to you separately by the asset manager. Okay. So these are the benefits of investing through a unit trust. I must say though, in terms of liquidity in the context of long-term investment can be a double-edged sword. You know, it can be like a knife in the hands of a warrior, of a thug. It can be dangerous, but in the hands of a surgeon, it's the same knife which will be used to save your life. So liquidity is obviously good, but the fact that you have easy access to your money can also be a problem if you want to maintain discipline to ensure that your money stays invested for the longer term. So what it means is that for you to get the maximum advantage, maximum benefit from your unit trust, you need to exercise discipline. In other words, you should not be taking your money out willy-nilly anytime you have some small, simple urge to get some money. You just go withdraw it. Of course, no one will stop you, but then it will affect your long-term return. So you should look at liquidity in that context. It's great, but it also means that you need to exercise a lot of discipline. Okay, so I'll give you now some examples of companies or asset managers in our region you can contact, you can reach out to, and they should be able to provide you professional asset management services or unit trust management services, and these are licensed companies. So in Kenya, for example, you have companies like CIC, you have ICA, you have NCBA, you have Old Mutual, you have ABSA, and so many others. There are around about 20 asset management companies which provide unit trusts in Kenya. Okay? In Uganda, you have the likes of Sanlam, you have UAP Old Mutual, you have ICA, and a number of others. All right? So, Asha, I hope this helps partly address your question. So what I'm saying is unit trusts or mutual funds would be one fantastic way of getting a long-term investment vehicle which is regulated and therefore low risk. All right? For other companies, other asset management companies I may not have mentioned to you, just check with your capital markets authority in your country, whether it is Tanzania or Rwanda or any other country. There will always be a capital markets authority or its equivalent which regulates investments in capital markets. And don't forget, please, always use licensed providers. And another thing you should not forget, to subscribe. Always subscribe so that you will get notified of subsequent videos. Thank you very much.